name's Jasmine and today I'm going to be customizing squishies. I've been making my own squishies for a while and I have a bit of a collection. I'm just excited to finally share the process and share my works with other people. If you don't know what I mean by customizing squishies, it's when I'm going to be taking some slow rise memory foam squishies that I have laying around and I'm going to be painting them and customizing them to what I would want them to be. I've been working on these for a while and I'm so excited to finally share them with you, so I guess let's just get straight into things. Here is the first squishy. It's a simple penguin. Honestly, it's super cute as it currently is. He has a bit of a 1,000-mile stare going on there. There's also a little tear in the neck here, but overall good condition. My main issue with the current design is the off-yellow color they use for the feet, but paint will fix that. Before I can start on customizing the squishy, it needs to be prepped. I'll start with trimming the seams. This is just so the final result has a more smooth look. Then I'm going to sand the squishy so the paint doesn't peel up, it gives it a rough surface to grab onto. Next, I use some puffy paint to seal the tear in the neck and all the trims that I made. I'm just building it up with this thicker paint since puffy paint is able to hold its shape. I'm trying to apply it thick so I don't have to do as many coats, but I'm also trying to smooth it out so that it doesn't dry all lumpy. And once that's done, I'm able to go in with a nice white base coat. Finally, I can get to the painting. My idea is to make a blue penguin. Blue is a cool color, it's used to represent colds. Penguins live in the cold, it makes sense to me. After looking at this penguin long enough though, I realized how many others had the same idea, or maybe my brain was subconsciously remembering all these other blue penguins that I already knew of. I came up with a lot of other blue penguins, and I'm probably even forgetting some too, so let me know if you think of any others, but let's do a rapid fire. Sanrio has a character named Tuxedo Sam. There's the family of penguins from Mario 64, who were then in the Mario movie. There's the Mario power-up from New Super Mario Bros. King Dedede from Kirby, Piplup from Pokemon, Pablo from the Backyardigans, and Pororo from Pororo. That's a lot of blue penguins, but there's even more. In addition to all of these penguins being blue, a lot of them also have names that start with the letter P. I wanted to keep this thing going, so I'm thinking this penguin looks like Preston. He just looks so dashing, especially with this little bow. Preston works great for him. Preston may have turned out very simple, but I think it works for him. He's just a little formal guy, and he has a special connection with all those other blue penguins. Most of my favorite parts from Preston are the little details. The face is similar to the original, but it doesn't read as lifeless with no thoughts. He has little sparkles in his eyes, and he's blushing. He looks aspirational instead, and I love that. Next up, I've got this Alicorn squishy. If you don't know, an Alicorn is a combination of a Pegasus and a unicorn, so it's got the wings and the horn. I started by getting her prepped. I genuinely thought that this squishy was just ready for the base coat right away. But I had not noticed that there was a huge cut in her leg. I don't know how this happened to this squishy because I got it secondhand, but it does look like a very clean cut, which makes me think it was intentional, with a pair of scissors. Even though I found out about this cut later than I should have, it was still easy to fix her up. I just finished the layer of paint, and once it was dry, I was able to seal it up with the puffy paint. Then she was ready for her base coat. As for the design, I wanted something very nursery-esque. I have recently become an aunt. I now have a beautiful little niece who is healthy, and I'm very excited about this. It made me think of muted colors with soft details, and I think that would work really well with this Alicorn. So the Alicorn's fur will be this super pastel baby pink, and I liked the blush from the original design, so I added blush to her face, the backside, and the wings. I chose to make the hair dark purple for more contrast, and then I left a little gap for a pink streak in her hair. I'm giving her a very simple face, just the lashes. And in line with the simple details, I'm making her mark just a little heart with some lines around it, and she's ready for my signature. This Alicorn is done. I love this squishy so much. She is easily my favorite. She definitely lived up to my vision of this nursery aesthetic. I also think it's the little details coming together that makes me love this squishy so much more. Like the shading on the wings is just beautiful, and her color palette is so gentle with all these muted colors. I think all the details were simplified, and I just really enjoy it, okay? Now it's time for this fox squishy. This is a keychain, so I'll have to take care of this attachment piece. I can just cut it off while I'm trimming the seams. I also definitely need to sand this squishy. He is super smooth, and the paint will just not stick to that, so once that's done, I just want to get this base coat done so I can quickly get onto my design. I actually have another squishy that I've painted already, and that one was purple themed. And I have plans in the future to make a different blue themed fox. So in my mind, I need to make a whole rainbow, each themed around different colors. The only remaining options are red, orange, yellow, and green. I'm gonna go with green here since the little tufts of fur on his head remind me of leaves. I decided to use a light green for the base color of the fur, and I'll use a white for the lighter parts and a darker green for the darker accents. But once I was seeing all these colors together, I realized another subliminal idea from my brain. This looks like Sprigatito, the grass starter from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. That is actually such a great idea. I should do a whole video about making Pokemon squishies, but that'll have to be for a later day because right now I have to work on my Rainbow Fox family. This poor fox's face did not turn out how I had hoped. I started with some dots and they were not even, the right eye was too far out, and instead of just redoing it, I decided not to since it was crossing over two colors and I would have had to get out the white and the light green. So I just decided to try and make it work. So I wanted to make it seem like he's looking to the right, he's peeking over the shoulder. And so I added whites to the eyes so that I could have the pupils looking to the right. And I made the outlines a lot more thin than all the other lines on the squishy, but there isn't anything particularly wrong with it. It just doesn't quite feel chibi like the rest of the squishy is. The only thing wrong is the uneven eyes, but the face that I settled on was not the one that I was envisioning. I should have just fixed it in the first place, but I think that having these eyes look off to the right are still nice. And here it is, a green leafy fox. Overall, I still think the final result is pretty cute. I just think that the rest of his fox rainbow family might outshine him, but I guess we'll have to see. Finally, I have this tiny little Milkshake squishy. The colors on this are so gross to me, especially this muddy yellow color. Why did they pair that with this purple and blue? I don't get it. This desperately needs something new. As for the prepping process, I don't think that there's much commentary I can add to that since it's mostly the same as the other ones. I feel like that kind of content would be more valuable in a dedicated tutorial video, which I do plan on doing once I have more practice. So in the future, I plan on only showing the prepping process when it's relevant. Anyways, so for this design, I want this to now be a cotton candy milkshake. I love cotton candy and cotton candy flavored things because I just have a massive sweet tooth, but also the aesthetic of cotton candy is so adorable. So for the cup, I'm making it blue, but the first blue I tried was way too dark for a cotton candy color, and so I wanted to pick a more pastel blue, but I didn't want to make my own color, and this was my first mistake. because my solution for that was to just try and find a pretty close puffy paint color. First of all, puffy paint is horrible for coverage, so I'm having to put on these thick coats of paint. So thick that I'm using a popsicle and practically icing this squishy. The other issue is that it wasn't even a particularly good pastel blue. I put in all this effort to get the good thick coverage with the puffy paint, and it wasn't even a good color. This blue is a little too green for cotton candy. It's closer to like a teal color. But I stuck with it, and then I moved on to the pink drizzle. And for this, the pink that I chose was pretty dark and muted, and once again, not giving cotton candy. I don't understand why I was desperately trying to avoid mixing colors. Like, why? These colors suck. I still just kept going with it. I used my super pastels on the top. It's a little lumpy up there, and so I was imagining it's like real cotton candy placed on top of the milkshakes. The pastel colors were fitting, but they were so light I could barely see them, so I used the darker colors to add like sprinkles to like make the color palette more cohesive, and I filled in what used to be cookies, I think, on here, but now they're just little, I don't know what they are actually now, don't think about it. All that's left is my signature, and here is the cotton candy milkshake. It's way better than the original, but I feel it could have been better, as you heard. I literally talked about the colors ruining the original and then didn't put effort into making the colors of this cotton candy milkshake just right. The squishy isn't bad, it honestly still looks like cotton candy. I'm just being too picky, I guess. All of these squishies are so distinct from each other. My favorite is still the Alicorn, but I do love Preston, and I like the Leafy Fox and the Milkshake. Even if I spoke critically of them, I'm still really happy to be adding all of these squishies to my collection. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.